Advaita Chandra Jayu Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Vande Guru Nisha Bhakta Nisha Nisha Avatarakan Tat Prakasham Satat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Sangyakam Granthera Arambha Kori Mangala Charana Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinera Smarana Tinera Smarana Hai Vighana Vinashana Anayase Haya Nija Vanchita Purana Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Guruve Gaura Chandraya, Radhikaya Tadalaye, Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Grantraj Sri Chaitanya-Caritāmṛta, and we read till text number 92 yesterday. We were discussing about the Kaitaba Dharma, that what is so-called religion or pseudo-religion, and what is the formula to uproot all those so-called pseudo-religion, and that is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And Sri Prabhupada gave such an elaborate purport to this Dharma Projita Kaitava Atra Paramo Nilmatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastam Atra Vastush Shivadam Tapa Traya Unmulanam Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Mahamuni Krite Kim Va Pare Ishvaraha Sadhyo Hridaya Avarudhyate Atra Kritir Sushrubhistat Shanad. So by hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, that very moment impurities are uprooted, unmulanam, and pure bhakti is established. So let's start reading from the next verse, and then we discuss that the Mayavadism is the pradhan of atheistic or the so-called impersonal liberation is the root or is the mool of Kaitab Dharma. Text number 93. Prashabdena moksha abhisandhir api nirsatah iti. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. The prefix pra in the verse from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam indicates that the desire for liberation is completely rejected. Purport: this is an annotation by Sridhar Swami, the great commentator on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So can anyone tell me where is this pra being referred to? Anyone knows the answer? We just read in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam the verse we recited just now. Dharma projita kaitava. Prabhupada elaborates that in the purport as well, that pra means complete and ujjita means rejection. So pretty much the same verse, the prefix pra is completely rejected. So in short, all the desires for any form of Kaitaba Dharma, specifically referring to liberation, is completely rejected. That's where we read this pra ujjita. Pra plus ujjita. Okay, we'll move on to the next verse, text number 94. Anyone wants to read? Yeah, I request you to keep your videos on. It feels very impersonal if I'm the only one with the video on. So as long as you're in a position to turn on the videos, then keep your videos on. because our movement is very, very personal. If we would have been studying in a study group, we'll not cover our faces with some, scarf or something. We'll sit together and read. So it's basically the same thing, just we're sitting at different places and using a different forum to read. So try to keep your videos on. I don't like to repeat this pretty much every day, but I would be very grateful, and it will make the things more personal and more meaningful. Is Nandini Mataji, you want to read 94?
Yes, Prabhu, give me 1 second here. Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam, devotee. Krishna Bhaktira Badhaka Yata Shubha Shubha Karma Seha Eka Jivera Ajnana Tamo Dharma. Translation: all kinds of activities, both auspicious and inauspicious, that are detrimental to the discharge of transcendental loving service to Lord Sri Krishna are actions of the darkness of ignorance. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The poetical comparison of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda to the sun and moon is very significant. The living entities are spiritual spark, and their constitutional position is to render devotional service to the Supreme Lord in full Krishna consciousness. So-called pious activities and other ritualistic performances, pious or impious, as well as the desire to escape from material existence, are all considered to be coverings of these spiritual sparks. The living entities must get free from these superfluous coverings and fully engage in Krishna consciousness. The purpose of the appearance of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda is to dispel the darkness of the soul. Before their appearance, all these superfluous activities of the living entities were covering Krishna consciousness. But after the appearance of these two brothers, people's hearts are becoming cleansed, and they are again becoming situated in the real position of Krishna consciousness. So we recently had Gaur Purnima, and we are so lucky that Lord Chaitanya comes in one day of Brahma, which is 8.64 billion years. So so he had just now appeared, just few hundred years ago, and they have really come to give the purest form of Lord's mercy unconditionally. If you are most disqualified, it doesn't bother them. They will give their mercy so limitlessly, and your qualification is is that if you are disqualified, they are even more interested in proving the point. And the comparison of sun and moon is very significant. So we cannot imagine our life. The moon provides us the somarasa, is like a juice of life it provides. We read that in Bhagavad Gita chapter 15. And sun is like he's called Hiranyagarbha. He's compared to Supreme Personality of Godhead because he provides all the energy needed for us living beings, sunlight and everything. So these two, sun is hot, but the moon is soothing and cooling. So together, we get pretty much the whole sustenance of life comes from them ultimately. So it's very nice that they have come and they can fully engage us in Krishna consciousness by removing the coverings, dispel the darkness of the soul. And we just read about Kaitav Dharma, so completely uprooting the Kaitav Dharma, they can help us. Back to you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. It's a very important points Mataji shared. And also, Krishna Bhaktira Badhaka. The word used is Krishna Bhaktira Badhaka. That means anything which is an obstacle. Badha means obstacle. It sometimes there could be Shubha activities or pious activities, auspicious activities. Some could be Ashubha or inauspicious activities. Can anyone give example of Ashubha activities which are obstacles to bhakti? They're badha in bhakti. Ashubha, inauspicious activities.
Offending the devotees.
Offending devotees, very nice.
Not following the scriptures.
Yeah, I think you're connected with two phones, Mataji. That's why this feedback is happening. Not following scriptures, not following regulative principles, bad association, etc. I think that's a little more clear and obvious. Can anyone give example of Shubha activities which are Badhaka?
You may do charity, but you may do it for show off. You may have a wrong motivation.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Anyone else?
So your question was Shubha activities or Ashubha activities?
Shubha. Shubha we discussed, right? We discussed
Right.
that's a little more clear for not following principles, not following scriptures, offending devotees, etc., etc. That's a little more clear. Now, Shubha karma, which are Bhaktira Badha.
Serving devotees.
No, that's not Badha. That's helpful. We're talking about
Shubha
so-called.
use.
Yes, but you have to understand the full question. What are the Shubha activities which are Badhaka in Bhakti?
Oh, okay. Got it.
Mundane piety, which is not aligned with Bhakti. Mundane piety, like so-called charity, like Mataji gave example of so-called charity for or maybe once, like it's good to like maybe feed. So like let's say someone saw an animal on the street and then tries to help, but then the other extreme was will be like Jad Bharat, mundane piety. I mean, he became so attached, and that deer became a badha. Correct? He was trying to do good for the deer. He didn't have any bad intentions. He was trying to help the deer, but it led to attachment. So mundane piety, not keeping Krishna as the center, or for selfish reasons to get name, fame, adoration. So it may appear very Shubha, it may appear auspicious, it may appear pious, but it can be an obstacle as well.
Niyamagraha.
Mhm.
Niyamagraha.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, let's move on. Next verse. Would someone like to read this?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I can read. Hare
Yes,
Krishna,
yes.
Sandatnam, on Sri Prabhupada. Text number 95. Yanhara prasade etamo hayanasa tamo nasa karikare tatvare prakasha. Translation and purport is Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. By the grace of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, this darkness of ignorance is removed and the truth is brought to light. Hare Krishna Prabhu. So as you rightly explained, the Shubha and Shubha activities, all these, these are the, kind of a darkness, and these are the ignorance is automatically gets removed and brought how when the sun rises, the darkness dissipates. So in the same way, by the grace of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, our darkness and our ignorance and our Ashubha activities all will go away. Please correct. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice. Next verse. Anyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I can read.
Yes.
Tattva Vastu Krishna Bhakti Prema Rupa Nama Sankirtana Sabha Ananda Swarupa.
The absolute truth of is Sri Krishna, and loving devotion to Sri Krishna is accepted in pure love is achieved through
congregational chanting of the holy name,
name
which
with
is the essence of all bliss. Thank you, Prabhuji. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji and Chakrika Mataji. Tattva Vastu Krishna. What is the real Vastu? Vidyam Vasta Vastu. That is the Supreme Lord Krishna. Krishna Bhakti Prema Rupa. And the loving devotion. This is the real sum and substance, Bhagavan and Bhakti. And how can it be achieved? Nama Sankirtana. By the chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So that is the foremost kind of the foundation of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, it is repeated multiple times. Because it is Keval Ananda Khanda, it is Ananda Swarupa, Sab Ananda Swarupa. It is full of eternal bliss. So that's what Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu are bestowing to all of us. Krishna, Bhakti, Nam Sankirtana, which is pure love, Prema Rupa. It's like embodiment of love. Okay. 97. Who has not yet read?
I can read to Hare Krishna, Dhanavad Pranam everyone. Text 97. Surya Chandra Bahirer Tamoshe Binashe Bohir Bostu Ghatpat Adi She Prokashe. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. The sun and moon dissipate the darkness of the external world and thus reveal external material objects like pots and plates. Back to you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So again, talking about dissipating the darkness. Tama se vinashi. Tama ka vinash. Vinash means destroy. Tama means darkness. Tamoguna, mode of ignorance. Bahi vastu. Bahi vastu means the external material objects. So Bahir vastu ghata pata adi se prakashe. So there is no purport to this. But in short, when we follow the teachings of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, we can see things in their true perspective. We can see what are the external things and what is the real tattva vastu, which we discussed about in the previous verse. Tattva vastu is bhakti, in short. Tattva vastu Krishna Krishna bhakti prema rupa nama sankirtana sabha ananda swarupa. And these are the external objects, ghata, pata, adi. We are caught up in this ghata, pata. It helps us to see our attachments. It helps us to identify when one follows Cheto Darpana Marjanam, one sees what is my ghata, pata, adi. What is my things which are not conducive for me in my spiritual life. What is my deer which I am attached to? When a person is not following Krishna consciousness, when is not received the mercy of Lord Nityananda, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then one cannot see. One feels, oh, I'm fine. I don't have any lust. I don't have any greed. Oh, I'm very pious. One could be thinking ghata pata as the real thing. Ghata means ghara, right? Water pot. Pata, plate, patra, adi. So what we should take the real vastu and identify what is not conducive. the darkness of the external world and reveal the real thing. Anyone else wants to read or any other comments? Ghatapata, very poetic. Anyone? Yes, next verse, 98.
Yeah, I can read.
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna devotees. Dui bai Dierakshali Andakara Vi Bhagavata Sange Karana Sakshatakara. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. But these two brothers, Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, dissipate the darkness of the inner core of the heart, and thus they help one meet the two kinds of Bhagavatas, persons or things in relationship with the personality of Godhead. So I think this translation is saying that how Lord Chaitanya propagated the Mahat Sankirtan and is helping us fallen souls cleanse our heart. Basically, I think, and understand and try and connect with the Supreme Personality of God. Back to you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Do Bhai, the two brothers, they removed the Andhakar by purifying, by giving the message of Krishna consciousness. Dui Bhagavat, the two Bhagavat, the person Bhagavat, and anything in relation to Krishna, especially the Bhagavat Purana, which talks about name form. Sange Karana Sakshatkar. They become, the two brothers are actually the cause. Just imagine, if it would not have been for Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, would we have received the mercy of Srila Prabhupada? Would we have received the mercy of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam? The two Bhagavats, pure devotee and the book Bhagavat. So if Lord Chaitanya would have not come, if Lord Nityananda would have not appeared, then we would have been, rotting in this gutter of material world. But it is for Lord Chaitanya, these two brothers, that we are receiving the two Bhagavats, the association of devotees and the association of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Otherwise, it was very hard to get the book Bhagavatam, and who would have bothered from US? Oh, I'll get book Bhagavatam. But here, devotees are like Nandini Mataji are reaching out to the fallen souls and sharing, take Bhagavatam, take Krishna's mercy, take Srila Prabhupada's books, and sharing with the whole world, sharing with so many people. Why is it possible? Because of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, and by their mercy. If they would have not appeared, who would have taken the message of Krishna consciousness seriously? So they help one to meet the two kind of Bhagavat, book Bhagavat or person Bhagavat. So person Bhagavat referring to pure devotee and things in relationship to Krishna. Bhagavat Prasad, right? Yasya Prasadad Bhagavat Prasado. So Prasad also is actually Bhagavat. The deities also, anything in relation to Krishna. Okay, let's see.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can I just add
Yes,
something?
yes, please.
Dandavad. Actually, I'm really inspired by how much book distribution you do. And since we are reading again and again about Surya Chandra, I want to just add one little sidetracked story.
Yes, please.
One book distributor told, you get this Bhagavad Gita to a lady, it will solve all your problems. She said, I have no electricity. Will it solve that problem? He said, yes, it will solve that problem. Take this book. And the other guy who was watching him, he said, Prabhupada, you don't like us cheating, but look what this other book distributor said. Prabhupada said, you don't understand. Bhagavad Gita 15.6, yat shashanko na surya na pavakaha, yat gatva na nivartante, that mamada, that verse. In his abode, once we go, then there is no problem because everything is self-eliminated. You don't need moon, sun, or electricity or fire. Prabhupada said all her problems will be solved if she reads Bhagavad Gita seriously forever. So just wanted to add that, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
That's so inspiring. Thank you, Mataji. So let's see, what are the two Bhagavats here? 99. Anyone?
100.
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna Dandavata, verse 99. Ek Bhagavata Bada Bhagavata Shastra, Hara Bhagavata Bhakta Bhakti Rasa Atra. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One of the Bhagavata is the great scripture, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and the other is the pure devotee absorbed in the melas of loving devotion. Thank you, Prabhu. Back.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Very, very important and very, very straightforward. Book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat, who is always absorbed in the mellows of loving devotion. The great souls like Srila Prabhupada, they are walking tirthas, tirtham kurvanti tirthani. One time Prabhupada, out of his humility, someone asked him, why are you going to US? He said, I'm not going to US. The Bhagavatam is going to US. Actually, it's true, right? In both ways. The Bhagavat is going to US, the book Bhagavat and the person Bhagavat, both. Of course, great souls never consider themselves as Bhagavat. They consider, I'm just a servant. Bhagavat, can't go of itself. I'm just like a postman. I'm just a carrier of Bhagavat. So Bhagavatam is going to US. Why? By the mercy of Shri Du Bhai Karana. Sange Karana Sakshatkar. So by the association and the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Nityananda, the Bhagavatas are distributed all over the world. And the book Bhagavats and the person Bhagavats are also all across the globe, in every city, there are so many temples, so many wonderful devotees, so many Srila Prabhupada followers, so many wonderful, amazing devotees are there. How? By the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Nityananda. One last verse from Caitanya-Caritāmṛta for today, and then we'll move to the book Bhagavatam. Text 100. Anyone? Here. Who will want to hit the century? This is the first time, I guess, we are hitting the century, because Bhagavatam, other chapters are small.
Can I read, Prabhu?
Yes, Ekant Prabhu, please. Yeah, you are.
I want to hit the century, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, everyone. Dui Bhagavata Dvara Diya Bhakti Rasa Tanu Hara Hridaye Tanara Prema Hayavasa. Translation by Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Through the actions of these two Bhagavatas, the Lord instills the mellows of transcendental loving service into the heart of a living being, and thus the Lord, in the heart of his devotee, comes under the control of the devotee's love. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. This is again very, very amazing. Dui Bhagavata Dwara. Dwara means through them. Through these two Bhagavat, that means through the book Bhagavat and through the devotee Bhagavat, Diya, to give. What does it give? He gives Bhakti Rasa. He instills or gives the mellows, the pure Bhakti. So the Bhagavatam is the giver of Bhakti. And the person Bhagavatam, on the book Bhagavatam. Therefore, they say Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. It applies to both, not just the book Bhagavatam. Book Bhagavatam we do by serving, by reading, understanding, and applying, and the person Bhagavat by following their instructions. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. It applies to both. Tanhara Hridaye Tanara Prema Hoy Vasha. And the Lord likes to come under the control of his devotees. By whom? Who has received the mercy of Bhagavat. That means who has established pure love in one's heart, then the Lord is bound by such a devotee. The Lord loves to be bound by such a devotee who is regularly, who has achieved the mercy of Bhagavat. So The Lord, the supreme controller of all controllers, the supreme master of all masters, likes to be controlled by his devotee. And what is the formula to bind the Lord in one's heart? By serving Bhagavatam. So let's now study Bhagavatam.